Well. Welcome to the Academy.
We're back, man.
We're back, brother.
Always back.
The Academy series started off so well with trauma that we've now decided that it's time to get everyone graduated in the University of Life.
Well, yeah. Why stop at one topic?
Exactly. And why stop at just one bit of value? Why not just give them all of the value?
Yeah, well, $2 is better than $1.
Exactly. This Academy series and this show is brought to us thanks to Killer Moe's. Go check him out on Instagram. They've got big news coming out soon. Thank you, Killer Moe's and Mr. Dan Smith, for the sponsorship and believing in us. And thank you to all of our subscribers. Welcome to the Academy of Mastery for your emotional, physical, mental well-being, courtesy of Inside Outers podcast.
And it's your boy, the Lock Dog. Let's get to it.
Yeah. And it's your boy, Danny Lloyd, the man that took the I out of addict and put the Y in you. And today's subject in the Academy is cause and effect. Lock Dog, what does cause and effect mean to you?
If I was to say what cause and effect meant to me before I actually got to know what cause and effect meant, I would say absolutely no idea.
Okay.
But since learning about cause and effect in the realm of my own life, I would say, being a cause is holding myself responsible and accountable for things good and bad that goes on, because ultimately I tend to put myself in a situation for whatever the ripple effect might be of my actions. So very much a cause. If I'm having a bad day, I'm at cause for whether I try to improve it or I wallow in just how bad it could be.
Nice.
And then I would very much say on the flip side, being effect, probably just being pessimistic, in life.
Yep.
That's probably another way to frame it for the listeners is cause and effect is, are you optimistic or are you always pessimistic? Like which lens do you view your life through?
That's correct, yeah. And I think when we are at cause for anything that comes into our life, we take our power back, right? Yeah. So let's take, for instance, explaining on a very basic level what cause and effect is. So I could sit there and say that I've put on too much weight and I need to lose weight. The diet just never works because I never lose weight. So we look at cause and effect. So the cause is I eat a lot of donuts. The effect is I put on a lot of weight. So then is it the diet's fault? Is it my body's fault? Or is it my fault?
Yeah, 100%. So another way of frame that would be if I was on a diet and my goal was to lose 10 kilos and you live with me and you bring all this shit food into the house and I go and eat that food and then I turn around and say, well, my diet didn't work because you keep bringing shit food into the house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a blame game.
Exactly. And it's that word because.
Yeah.
Right? It's that word because. Putting your focus more on the how in place of why is a basic goal of cause and effect and understanding it, right? So, for instance, I could say, so many of us, I'll give you an example. I was in a relationship once, and on the out of this relationship, the person that I was with and had been with for a number of years decided to run off with another man who I befriended, a younger man who I tried to help. And so she ran off with him. Now, to stay at cause so that the anger and upset and bitterness that could be brought into my world by playing the blame game, what I did on the way out of this relationship, because I obviously left her when she left me, because I was like, well, I'm not putting up with that. But I said to this particular person on the way out of splitting up, I said, I'm going to own my 50% of this relationship falling apart and you running off with another man. That's being at cause. Being at effect could have been, you're a bitch, you've done me over, it's all you, blah, blah, blah. But instead, I walked away from that technically heartache very quickly, because I said to her on the way out, I'm going to own my 50% of you cheating on me, because I must have failed you as a partner and not met your needs as a lover, physically and emotionally, for you to feel that you had to go and do that with another man.
Yeah, super interesting. So it is like that, holding the mirror up to yourself and going, how or in what way am I also accountable in this situation?
That's correct. And by doing that, I walked away from that relationship pretty seamlessly. I mean, it still affected me, but like compared to previous partners that have cheated on me, there's no bitterness, bro. Like, I just let it go. So what I'm saying is, bad things are going to happen to you no matter what in life. It's your choice how you view them, right? It's your choice how you view something bad happening to you, and whether you want to stay stuck in the story at effect. Why does this always happen to me?
Yeah.
Or say, what is this teaching me?
Yeah, actually, yeah, and touched on that. I'd love for us actually to quickly go through, and I'll probably leave it on your end. What are actually some of the big pros of having a cause and effect mindset?
So when you have a cause and effect mindset, when you stay at cause for everything, I believe you become more resourceful. So if something negative happens to you, let's just say, you know, something bad happens to you and you crash your car.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect example, right? I borrowed your car. This is a true story.
That's correct. Yes, he crashed my car.
Yeah. I borrowed Jordan's car briefly just to go up to do something and back down the road. And during that 25-minute return trip, I crashed into the back of someone's car and caused thousands of dollars of damage to both Jordan and the other person's car. And Jordan hadn't actually got like the fully comprehensive insurance yet on that car because he had another one. And so I've come home and we're in the middle of like starting this business, and I've come home and basically felt like the world was against me and said, you know, this is messed up that this has happened to me. Instead of going, well, how did I intend this? Well, I intended this by taking somebody else's car that wasn't mine to be in, that hadn't got the right insurances, driving in the wet and probably not paying enough attention, and then braking too late because someone in front of me didn't know how to drive correctly either. And so from that whole chain reaction, I then had to try and fix Jordan's car, and then the person in front, because I've gone into the back of them, that was another $2,500. So I was at cause I was at effect when I got home, but within a couple of days I was like, well, you know, that was my fault. Like I have to own responsibility for that and be at cause that I made the choice to take somebody else's car because my car still wasn't fixed, even though I'd had weeks to fix it. And so these thousands of dollars now I have to pay out, it's on me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will blame everything else outside of them, even though most of the time it's probably us that needs to look in the mirror too.
Yeah, and it definitely sounds like having the ability to remain in a at-cause type of mindset throughout life also, it allows and gives you the ability to reflect,
Yep.
learn a bit more about where you can improve,
Yep.
and ultimately, you know, just be better as a person.
Yeah. So, you know, when things are happening, look at them as they are happening for you. They're not happening to you. And that takes the sting out of the bite. Because guess what? Life is going to bite you anyway. Life is going to catch you on the blind side. Life is going to do things where the rug feels pulled from under you. But sometimes when we think we've been buried, if we can stay at cause and stay resourceful in solution-focused thinking, we haven't been buried really. We've been planted.
Yeah, I love that.
Statistics has it that a huge number of people focus more on effects and very few on causes for anything. It doesn't just have to be this languaging.
Yeah, well,
just anything like.
I definitely think it would be for most of us, and I'm guilty of it 100% being at effect in a time when I should be at cause. But, especially when it's an emotionally charged situation, it's more comfortable and less overwhelming to blame it on things outside of us than to really point the finger inwards on ourselves.
Yep.
Because that can be a bit more stressful and,
Exactly. Look, we all get what we focus on and put our minds to. Get fixed on solutions and not your limitations would be a good start. Yeah. Stop focusing on what you can't do and focus on what you can do. Stop focusing on what you don't have and start focusing on what you do have to then get to where you want to get what you don't have and make it what you do have.
Yeah.
Right? And remember something. Believing something doesn't make it true. Believing something doesn't make it a fact. Remove the word. I've read this study. I was talking to you about this copier machine study. Basically, the long and short of it was a well-known principle of human behavior says that when we ask someone to do us a favor, we will be more successful if we provide them a reason. People simply like to have reasons for what they do, right? So I find that interesting. The reasons that we use to guide our behavior are just stories that we tell ourselves. Sometimes those stories are true and accurate. We all have reasons for why now isn't the right time for that bold move, why we slip up on habits that we say are important to us, and yes, why we do favors for strangers. What we often fail to realize, however, is that our behaviors can just as easily be driven by irrational reasons as they are logical ones. So we use reasons, both logical and illogical, to justify our own behavior.
Yeah, so we try to make sense of it.
Yeah. That's how we make sense of it. So be aware of that. Take stock of the reasons you use in your life, and you might be surprised with the type of story you're telling yourself.
I love this topic, cause and effect. And because we are a channel about mental health and substance abuse and addiction, this is so applicable in both kind of sides of the spectrum, whether you're just dealing with a mental health condition or disorder, or you're going through a substance abuse addiction. Just exercise cause and effect.
Yep.
If you can really hold yourself accountable and not do the blame game, it changes everything.
And I'll tell you this now, from working explicitly for years within the criminal justice system and the prisons especially, and working with highly violent gang members and people that have committed murders and other things, cause and effect is most prevalently needed to be taught within there. Because people do a crime and they go into prison, and then they decide that the system is against them, that the screws are against them. And by the way, that's not completely untrue. There's a lot of things that go on inside prison systems that are not very good sometimes towards prisoners. But what I will say is this: if you are in prison, even though most people will say that, they didn't do it, but if you're in prison, stop looking at, if you want to break the cycle, because no one wants to be in prison. No one wants to be imprisoned. Most people that are imprisoned are already in a prison inside of their own brains and minds through trauma and addiction. They then get put in a physical one to double the effect. See? Effect of their situation.
Well, it is that having a cause and effect mindset, no matter how dire your circumstances, in prison or not, in an executive role, when things are bad, maintaining that cause and effect mindset really dictates on the spectrum the severity level of the actual issue at hand. Exactly.
So whatever you're going through, realize you're not going through it, you're growing through it. And if you are in a position of battling an addiction, if you're battling a mental health issue, if you're in a relationship that is not suiting you, if you have committed a crime and you are in prison and coming out on parole or in full time, the minute you change the dialogue in your head around the person, people, or system that you decide to blame for the position you find yourself in, the minute you can change that narrative and actually start asking yourself, how did I intend this? How did I get myself into this situation? You can't change everybody that's making it worse, but you can make it better by changing the way you look at yourself and why you're in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's all about perspective. You know, it's very easy to find what's wrong about anything in life.
Yep.
But as soon as you can change your language around whatever it is, and you know, it could be as simple as what's right about this, or what lessons are to be gathered here, or what more can I do to improve the situation, then everything changes.
Everything. And I mean everything. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's just like atomic habits type principles. But if you can catch yourself a little bit more often when you start trying to look outside of you for the reason something's gone wrong, and you can spin your eyes back inside looking at yourself, and you can get better at doing that and bringing more awareness to a bad situation outside of you and what you have done to put yourself in it, the more you will start becoming resourceful and solution focused instead of being stuck inside the problem. Because the actual thing you're stuck inside of isn't the problem. It's in your own head and the story you're creating.
100%.
So
absolutely. And you know, I encourage anyone to, you know, go away after hearing this and to do a bit of research, learn a bit more about the application of cause and effect. And I encourage you, just try it out for a week.
Yeah.
And I utilize it in your own life, apply it.
And Google the copy machine study. So we got to do, Google the copy machine study. It's about 5 short pages, and read about it, and it will help you understand more of what we said. Anyway, hope that's taught you how to be more at cause and less at effect for the things that are going on in your life. And join us next time on the Academy series as we continue to get you through to your diploma in the University of Life. Thanks again to Killer Mose for sponsoring us. Stay shiny.